So now we will start with your second part where you are talking about application for registration. First part was basics of registration. Now we are discussing about your application for registration, getting registration. Now conceptual portion of application for registration is divided into three parts. One, section 22 which is turnover based registration. Second, section 23 which is compulsory registration, and one is section 24 which is section 23 which is not liable for registration, where you are not liable for registration, and then section 24 which is compulsory registration. So if I were to split this into three parts, when you are said to be liable for registration, when you are said to be liable for registration, so you are said to be liable for registration if at all you are covered under either section 22 or section 24. Section 22 or section 24. Okay, let me make it more simple. There are certain definitions which are there. Right, one of the definition is you are talking about your taxable person and your registered person. Now, taxable person, all the definitions are given under section 2. Taxable person means a person who's registered or liable for registration. Taxable person means a person who's registered or liable for registration. When a person is said to be liable for registration? When he is either covered under section 22 or section 24. Right. Then what is meant by non-taxable person, though it is not given? Non-taxable person means a person who's not registered and not liable for registration, and not liable for registration, not registered and not liable for registration. Right, so when you are talking about not registered and not liable for registration, it may be because of your section 23 as well. You are not liable for registration, it may be because of your section 23, maybe, not necessarily, it may be. Now, please understand that if I have taken registration, payment is must. We already discussed, once registered, payment is mandatory. Then I cannot tell that my turnover is so and so, less, very less. Then I cannot tell. Once registered, payment is must. So if you look at the definition of taxable person, it actually gives the same meaning. If you are registered or if you are liable for registration, either under section 22, turnover based registration, or under section 24, compulsory registration. The one is your turnover based registration, other is compulsory registration. Finished. You have to pay tax. Now, three categories. Your turnover is only 5 lakhs, but you are registered. Your turnover is only 5 lakhs, but you are registered. Should you take registration? Sorry, should you make the payment of tax? Yes. Your turnover is only 5 lakhs, but you are registered. Should you pay out tax? Yes. Because you are registered, you are a taxable person. Your turnover is 5 crores. Your turnover is 5 crores. You are not registered. Still you have to pay tax because you are liable for registration. You are liable for registration. Assuming that you have to pay tax but you have not registered knowingly. Right, a fraud person who knows that he has to pay tax but he is not registered. But if I tell that your turnover is 15 lakhs, you are neither registered, nor you are liable for registration, then you are a non-taxable person. Now if I change the example, if I tell that your turnover is 500 crores, but you are not registered because you are dealing only with exempt supply, then your turnover is 500 crores, but you are not registered because you are dealing with exempt supply. Your answer will be non-taxable person. Why? You are not registered, plus you are not liable for registration. We have discussed, when we discussed your composition scheme and your exemption scheme, we have discussed Section 23 tells that irrespective of your turnover, if you are dealing only and only with exempt supply or non-taxable supply, you are not required to take registration. You are not required to take registration. Clear this understanding? So this defines what is meant by taxable person, also what is meant by registered person. Now the registered person is defined to be a person who is having GST number, but it will not include a person who is having UIN. If you are having UIN, international bodies, then you are not called as registered person. Then you are not called as registered person, means you should have GST identification number, not unique identification number. You should have GST identification number, not unique identification number. Now coming back here, we were trying to understand when you are taking registration, conception part, either you are covered by 22 or 24. And at times you may be relaxed because of section 23. Now I can change the example and I can tell that your turnover is only 15 lakhs. Your turnover is only 15 lakhs. Say in a state like Tamil Nadu, it's only 15 lakhs. You are not registered. But you have a service which is taxable under RCM. But you have a service which is taxable under, then who you are? You are taxable person, because though you are not registered, you are liable for registration as per section 24. As per section 24. So there can be various ifs and buts. Various ifs and buts. So whatever examples I have given, the first example was 5 lakhs. Second example was 5 crores. The third example was 15 lakhs. The fourth example was 500 crores. The last example was 15 lakhs. The first case you had 5 lakhs but you are registered. The second case you are 5 crores but you have not taken registration and you are dealing with say item which is having 18%. In the third case, you are not registered. Supposing you are there in the state of Tamil Nadu, so that 10 lakhs doesn't come in your mind. You are in the state of Tamil Nadu, right? The fourth case, you are not registered, and you are having dealing with only an item which is having 0%. In the fourth case, 15 lakhs. You are not registered, but you have an inward supply which is attracting RCM, or say for example, few more examples. You have interstate outward supply. Interstate outward supply. In the first case, what was the answer? You are taxable person. Why? Registered. Second case, taxable person. Why? Liable for registration under section 22. The third case, non-taxable person. Why? Not registered, not liable for registration. Fourth case, non-taxable person, because you are not liable for registration as per section. So 23 may not be always there, but in this case 23 is self-being done. Last case, you are a taxable person because you are liable for registration as per section 24. These are all the examples, all the permutation combinations that you can have. Now, which is more powerful? The most powerful is section 23. Then compulsory registration 24. Then it is 22, which is turnover based registration. The most powerful is no registration, then compulsory registration, then turnover based registration. We are not going to touch anything when you are talking about your turnover based registration. This entire discussion about section 22 read along with notification 10/2019. This entire discussion, when you are talking about your section 22, read along with your notification number 10 bar 2019 CT, which was all about your 40 lakhs. You've already completed when we were talking about your composition scheme and your exemption scheme. So this entire discussion about whether your turnover should be taken as 40 lakhs or it should be taken as 20 lakhs or it should be taken as 10 lakhs was discussed already, along with another chapter where we are discussing basically composition scheme, but we also compared that along with your exemption from registration based on turnover. Exemption from registration based on turnover. That is turnover based registration. Turnover based registration. So whatever is given here, we have already discussed with examples. We already discussed with examples. That is all about when you talk about whether you have to go with 10 lakhs or whether you have to go with 20 lakhs or whether you have to go with 40 lakhs. 10, 20 or 40. Now, the focus of our discussion now prima facie would be section 24. Turnover based registration we have already seen. Now the focus is on section 24, which is compulsory registration, and section 23, which is not liable for registration, no registration, not liable for registration. Rather, you have to read or interlink both of them together. Not only both of them, all the three together. When you have to decide whether to take or not, registration or not, you have to link everything. Rather, in the 5 examples that we discussed a few minutes back, we actually interlinked everything. Then decided whether to take registration or not to take registration. Now, if you look at the points, first we'll see 23, then we'll link 23 and 24 both and read both together. If you look at the points, the first point we already discussed. If you are having only and only, exclusively means only and only non-taxable supply or exempt supply in a particular state. In that state you are not required to take registration. Might be in another state you have to take, but in that state you are not required to take registration. While discussing your turnover based registration, 40 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 7 lakhs, a number of times reference of section 23 came because of in that state you are dealing only with non-taxable supply or you are dealing only with exempt supply. Exclusively means there is no other supply. It is either fully non-taxable, alcoholic liquor for human consumption or 5 notified petroleum products, or fully exempt. Right. Now, the second category is about agriculturalists to the extent of supply of agricultural produce which is out of cultivation of land. Agriculturalist to the extent of, look at the language, to the extent of, not exclusively, to the extent of, only that portion, which is dealing with supply of agricultural produce out of cultivation of land. Now, we'll be taking all the examples of 23 and 24 now onwards and trying to understand in charts. The same examples are given in your practice workbook, but here itself we'll complete all these points. Now, we have to see the definition of the term agriculturist. What we have understood a few time back was the definition of registered person and taxable person. And when we have discussed about your 40 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 10 lakhs or your composition scheme, rather in many other places you have the most important definition of entire GST, which means aggregate. So that we have already completed while we were discussing your composition scheme and exemption from registration, that is turnover based registration. Now let us try to understand what is the meaning of agriculturalist. Now, agriculturalist in terms of section 2 clause 7 means only an individual or HUF. It can be only either individual or HUF who is undertaking cultivation of land. Which means if there is a company, private limited company or a public limited company which is doing cultivation of land, normally you can call that company as agriculturist company. But for GST it is not as agriculturist. For GST it is only individual or HUF. Individual or HUF. Right. Now, who is undertaking cultivation of land? Either that person himself, own labor, or family, or with the help of servants or hired labor, but they are under your direct supervision of yours or direct supervision of your family members. Simple language. Either you have to take the cultivation of land yourself, or one of the family members should take the cultivation of land, or it can be even done by servants or hired labor, but they have to work under your personal supervision or personal supervision of your family members. Clear? You need not remove the second part. You have to only, when you are revising, you have to remove only this part. Agriculture means individual or NGF who is undertaking cultivation of land. Who is undertaking cultivation of land. Individual or NGF. Now, coming to this particular part, what is the difference in these two aspects? Supposing I am talking about a scenario where in the state of Tamil Nadu, in the state of say Maharashtra, or in the state of Gujarat, I am actually working in all the three states. One state, one registration is the concept. In Tamil Nadu, my turnover is 50 crores. My turnover is 50 crores, but I am dealing only and only with non-taxable supply. In Maharashtra, I am having 20 crores, but I am dealing only and only with exempt supply. In Gujarat, my turnover is 10 crore and 5 crore. 10 crore is that of agricultural produce, and 5 crore is that of others. Please understand the fact that agricultural produce need not have only 0%. Remove this point. Normal feeling will come that agricultural produce means it is always exempt. No. Agricultural produce may have a rate of tax which is 5%, maybe even 12%, maybe even 18%. Might be exempt, it might not be exempt. So I am taking a scenario where it is taxed at 5%. Now I am talking about say an individual. So you are talking about Vishal Jain being an individual. So that is also important for Gujarat. That is very important for Gujarat. Now what will be the answer for Tamil Nadu? For Tamil Nadu, no registration, section 23. For Maharashtra, no registration, again section exclusively dealing with non-taxable supply or exclusively dealing with exempt supply. For Gujarat, you have to take registration. Please understand that your aggregate turnover happens to be 50 crores plus 20 crores plus 15 crores. So it is totally your 85 crores. So in Gujarat, there is no escape. You have to take registration. Then you will tell that what is given in section 23. Even after taking registration, I repeat, even after taking registration, when you are going to make the payment, on 10 crores, you will not pay GST. Though on the agricultural produce rate is 5%, you will not pay GST. You are an agriculturist. Assume, and it is not only supply of agricultural produce, you are an agriculturalist plus there is supply of agricultural produce. Both are important. You should be which means the cultivation should be done by myself. It cannot be done by others. I should not be a reseller. I am an agriculturalist and I am supplying that. There won't be any GST. On 5 crores, I have to pay GST. Though the rate of tax is 5%, but still there won't be any GST. Now this is because of your section 23. Now I have tried to explain you the difference between exclusively dealing with non-taxable supply, exclusively dealing with exempt supply, agriculturalist to the extent of supply of agricultural produce where you are actually registered but you are not paying GST. You are not paying GST. Is the meaning clear? So that is the reason they play with the words. It is agriculturalist to the extent of supply of agricultural produce out of cultivation of land, out of cultivation of land. Right. Now, what if I change the example bit? Let us focus only on the state of Gujarat. Let us focus only on the state of Gujarat, where there was supply of agricultural products. Let us stick to the same numbers. What were the numbers? 10 crores agricultural produce and 5 crores others. 10 crores, which is agricultural produce, 5 crores others. 10 crores, which is agricultural produce, and 5 crores others. Let us stick to the same numbers. In the first case, let me give an extra fact that you are talking about Vishal Jain being an individual and he is also an agriculturalist. He is cultivating the land and then supplying the agricultural produce. In the second case, this is Vishal Jain being an individual, but he is not an agriculturalist, he is reseller of agricultural produce. He is reseller. Reseller means he is purchasing from the farmer and selling it. Reseller. In the third case, let us assume that it is VJ Limited, which means it is not an individual or HF. Now the fact whether VJ Limited is doing cultivation of land or not doing cultivation of land, in either case he will not be an agriculturalist. Whether VJ Limited is cultivating the land on its own or it is a reseller, really doesn't make any difference. Because technically, as per GST law, VJ Limited cannot be called as agriculturalist. So I have written agriculturalist twice. One, it is cultivating the land. Two, it is reselling. In both the cases, VJ Limited cannot be called as agriculturalist. And in all the cases, what was the rate of agricultural produce? 5%. Now these three are independent examples. What will be answered in the first case? What will be answered in the first case? You are taking registration. There is no relaxation. You are taking registration. In all the three cases, one thing is very clear, that registration is taken. But what is the difference? In the first case, on 10 crores, you are not paying GST. On 5 crores, you will be paying GST. But in the second and the third case, where you are an individual but not an agriculturalist because you are reseller of the agricultural produce, or you are other than individual HUF, whether you are cultivating on your own or you are reselling doesn't make any difference because technically you are not agriculturist. So whether it is 10 crores or whether it is 5 crores, you will be paying. So you will end up paying GST even on agricultural produce. You will end up paying GST even on agricultural produce. In the first case, on this agricultural produce, 10 crores, you did not pay GST because you are agriculturalist plus individual. Only individual HUF who's agriculturalist and supplying the produce which he is cultivating will get this benefit. In the second case, where you are an individual but you are a reseller. But you are a reseller. You are not cultivating on your own. You are a reseller. Even on this 10 crores, you are going to pay GST. In the third case, the moment I tell it is VJ Limited, clearly, whether you are that whether VJ Limited is cultivating itself or it is a reseller, technically it cannot be called as agriculturist. So on that 10 crores, which is supply of agricultural produce, you will pay GST. You will pay GST. That's not been tested by ICA, but doesn't mean that it cannot be. Doesn't mean that it cannot be tested by ICA. Are you clear with this understanding? Are we clear with this understanding? Right. Now, when you talk about the next point, you are talking about a scenario where there is a notification number 5/2017 CT, which tells that person who is exclusively engaged in making supplies taxed under RCM. Person who is exclusively engaged in making supplies taxed under RCM. Now this needs to be read with, this is under section 23 where you are not required to take registration. This needs to be read with compulsory registration where something about RCM is said. This you need to link where something about RCM is said, but what exactly is said? Person who are required to pay RCM, compulsory registration. So this RCM is coming in both the places. One place where you are not required to take registration, other place where they say that forget about not required to take registration. You have to take registration irrespective of your turnover. What is the meaning of compulsory registration? Take registration irrespective of your turnover. So one place it is telling that irrespective of your turnover, don't take registration. Other place it is telling that irrespective of turnover, take registration. One point is for supplier, one point is for recipient. One point is for supplier. So this above point is from the angle of supplier, and this particular point is from the angle of recipient. Now let us take an example to understand both. Now onwards we'll link 23 and section 24. Both these points will be always read together. Now supposing there is a supplier and there are many recipients, recipient 1, recipient 2, recipient 3. There are a lot of recipients, right? In all the cases the tax is coming under RCM. The tax is coming under RCM. Right. Now, what is said in such cases that supplier, though your supply is taxable supply, it's not exempt. Though your supply it is not exempt supply. Please don't treat it as exempt supply. It is a taxable supply, but you are not paying tax. Recipient is paying tax, but all your supplies is taxed under RCM. You need not take registration because of section 23. Read along with 5 bar 2017 CD. Notification number section 23 read along with 5 bar 2017 CD. You need not take registration. Supplier is getting a relaxation. Supplier is getting a relaxation. And recipient, whether it is recipient 1 or recipient 2 or recipient 3, you have to take compulsory registration. You have to take compulsory registration as per section 24. As per section 24, even though your turnover would have been 0, you have just started your business. You have just started your, say one of the recipient 3 has just started the business and has incurred legal services to advocate, which is under RCM. Legal services to advocate, which is under RCM. Recipient 3 in this case, it is not having any turnover because it has just started the business, but still it has to take compulsory registration. Compulsory registration. Now our discussion is all about 360 degrees approach. I cannot stop here. The moment I tell this, your mind will tell you, what if you are under RCM, few are under FCM? Correct? What if not everything is under RCM? Because we have discussed that when it is all about RCM, it is not that everything will be under RCM. Small thing being changes, few things can be under RCM, few things can be under FCM for the same service. Be it sponsorship service, be it legal service by advocate, be it your insurance agent services, be it recovery agent services, be it GTA services. That is a lengthy list. It can be under RCM, it can be under FCM. So you cannot ignore that scenario. So that is a supplier. He is also having, say, many recipients, and when you are talking about his recipients, the first two cases are covered under RCM and the third case is covered under FCM. FCM I put near supplier because he has to pay tax. He has to collect and pay tax. Now, whether supplier will get relaxation as per section 23? No. Supply will not get relaxation as per section 23. Supplier has to go for registration, maybe based on turnover. Based on the turnover. Based on his turnover. Or maybe it may be a case where it is not based on his turnover, it is because of 24 compulsory. That we don't know. But 23 will not help, we surely know. Section 23 will not help, we surely know. Here 23 will not help supplier, we clearly know. Whether he will take registration or not, please see section 22 based on the turnover, or please see section 24 compulsory. It might be a case where his turnover is less, but he is covered by other aspect of section 24. That he is covered by any other aspect of section. He is not getting relaxation of section 23 is very clear. He is not getting the relaxation of section 23. Now whether he will take registration or not depends on section 22 or 24. Rather, putting a tick mark also is, I am avoiding it. Registration will be decided by section 22 or section 24. I am not even telling that he will be registered. I am telling that he has to analyze section 22 or 24 and then decide whether he has to take or not. 23 will surely not help. 23, which was helping in the previous case, where 23 was clearly telling that you don't take any registration, will not help. What about recipient 1? Compulsory registration, section 24. Recipient 2, compulsory registration, section 24. Recipient 3, I am not even commenting. What he is doing, why he is doing, same way. You have to analyze for him. You have to see for him whether he is covered by any other aspect of compulsory registration or he is covered by turnover. So I am not even commenting on recipient 3. I am not even touching. You have to apply normal thing for recipient 3. But because of this transaction, he is not disturbed for registration. That is for sure. Because of this transaction, he is not disturbed for registration. Might be because of some other transaction, he may be disturbed for registration. So here, I will again write, he has to take registration or not to take registration will depend on 22 or. So for recipient 3 and for supplier, I am not even putting tick mark or cross mark. I am just telling that go to 22 or other aspects of 24, not this aspect. Other aspects of 24. When I have written 22 or 24, not the aspect of RCM, other aspects of 24. Clear? Clear? No, that is about your RCM category. That is all about your one from the angle of supplier where 23 was helping, other from the angle of recipient where no one is helping. It is section 24 compulsory registration. If you look both the examples, there is no change for of answer for recipient 1 and recipient 2. They have to take compulsory registration. They have to take, for both of them in both the examples, there is no change in the answer. There is absolutely no change in the answer. Now, what is the logic of, in the first example, what was the logic of asking supplier not to take registration? What was the logic? Simple logic. Though it is a taxable supply, but all your services are taxed under RCM, you are not going to pay anything to that state. You are not going to pay anything to that state. Why take registration? Why take registration? So now there are 3, even if this supplier's turnover is 500 crores. Even if this supplier's turnover is, answer is no registration. Now there are 3 cases where irrespective of your turnover, you will not take registration. Irrespective of your turnover, you will not take registration. What are they? Exclusively non-taxable supply. Exclusively exempt supply. Exclusively supplies where tax is under RCM. All your supplies are taxed under RCM. Fully non-taxable supply, fully exempt supply, fully supplies where everything will be taxed under RCM. Irrespective of your turnover, you will not be disturbed. You will not be disturbed. Are you clear with this understanding? So that is about your RCM category. Now If you look at other points, one by one we'll analyze. If you look at other points, one, that is something called as interstate outward supply. If you are making interstate outward supply, you have to take compulsory registration, but wait, 23 now gives a relaxation in terms of 7 bar 2017 IT and 10 bar 2000 IT. Even if you look at your text, you will find that against this interstate taxable supplies, you find relaxations. That is 10 bar 7 bar 2017 IT, 10 bar 2017 IT. There's one more relaxation which is all about your more about your CTP and RTP, which is 3 bar 2018 IT. First we'll discuss only 7 bar 2017 IT and 10 bar 2000 IT. What it means? Prima facie, if I tell you have interstate outward supply, what would have been your answer? Till now, whatever we have discussed, what would have been your answer? What would have been your answer? Compulsory registration. But the answer is different. There is a change of answer now. So if I were to tell, if you are having interstate, we are talking about outward supply or inward supply? Interstate outward supply. Interstate outward supply. One, I am talking about goods. Two, I am talking about services. By the way, all of them, whatever we are discussing, maybe I am discussing by way of chart. In your conceptual question bank, they have given us examples. I am not going to test them again. I am putting them in form of charts. Right? Interstate outward supply of goods, interstate outward supply of services. Again, categorize them into two. One, you are talking about general scenario. Two, you are talking about special scenario. Rather, I always tell this, read it as son and daughter. Son and daughter. A father is having a son and daughter. Son is goods. Daughter is services. Always there will be soft corner for who? Daughter. Son, no soft corner, it is left, right, center. Right? That is normal tendency. And the matter of fact is, daughter are special and they do understand things where what parents are trying to tell. Sons, they don't understand, or they do understand and exactly do the opposite. So, goods are son and services are daughter. So, if at all you are talking about son, interstate outward supply. Here the parent is the government. It tells that no relaxation whatsoever for you. You take compulsory registration as per section 24. Compulsory registration. Even if your turnover is only 1 lakh or 15,000, but you are having interstate outward supply of goods, take compulsory registration. Turnover is only 15,000. Don't worry, even then take compulsory registration. So when you are talking about general category, the focus is on compulsory registration section 24. For services, even though you are having interstate outward supply of services, you take turnover based registration. But wait, careful this time. This turnover based registration is given by whom? Is given by section 23. Normally turnover based registration is set by 22. Now this turnover based registration, which is either 20 lakhs or 10 lakhs. Why 20 lakhs or 10 lakhs? For services you can never have 40 lakhs. So either 20 lakhs or 10 lakhs is given by whom? See, look at the beauty. The moment you are having interstate outward supply, you are covered by 24. So first 24 catches you and tells that take compulsory registration. Then 23 calls you. 23 tells that okay, your service, don't worry, don't take registration. But wait, don't take registration is not in any case. Don't take registration up to your aggregate turnover is crossing 20 lakhs, 10 lakhs. So you go to 24 You come to 23. 23 is telling that follow the logic of 22. Follow the logic of 22. You go to section 24. Interstate outward supply of services is prima facie covered by section. If I were to write an answer, first I have to write interstate outward supply. That is compulsory registration, whether it is for goods or services. But then that's a relaxation. For what? Interstate outward supply of services. Interstate outward supply of services. But when I go and see the relaxation is not for any turnover. It tells that till my turnover is up to 20 lakhs, 10 lakhs, which is the logic of 22. Which is the logic of 22. I need not take registration. But be very careful. Here I have written turnover based registration as per 23. Logic is of 22, but it is as per 23. And goods compulsory registration as per section 24. Is it clear? Is it clear? Right. Now, this is the normal understanding for goods and services. As you can see the chart, there is something special both for goods and services. Something special means answer would be opposite. Answer would be opposite. Now, that something special in goods is for notified handicraft goods. Notified handicraft goods. For notified handicraft goods. For notified handicraft goods, it is turnover based registration as per section 23. As per section 23. See, sandbar 2017 was there, 10 bar 2017 was there, one more was 3 bar 2018 IT. So this is 3 bar 2018 IT. For notified handicraft goods, it is turnover based registration. And if it is for goods, when I tell turnover based registration, it is 40 lakhs, 20 lakhs or 10 lakhs. For notified handicraft goods, it is turnover based registration. Now, there are extra conditions that if it is notified handicraft goods, you should be having PAN number plus there should be compulsory e-way bill. This will be discussing again in your e-way bill chapter. Compulsory, you are not taking registration but still you are generating e-way bill, which indirectly implies that even an unregistered person can generate e-way bill. Even an unregistered person can generate. So, for notified handicraft goods, I tell that you should have a PAN plus you are not taking registration. We are relaxing you from taking registration, but we want to keep track of you. Therefore, compulsory e-way bill. Compulsory. We are giving you relaxation from GST registration. Don't pay GST, but we want to track you. Therefore, generate e-way bill. Compulsory. Call it as normally e-way bill is based on amount, but here, irrespective of amount, you have to generate e-way bill. Compulsory e-way bill. Compulsory e-way bill. Clear? So when you see the special category for goods, it is for notified handicraft goods that you go for turnover based registration 23. So again the same story here. Basically, in the moment you have interstate supply of goods, 24 tells you come here, take compulsory registration. But 23 tells that no, don't see 24, come here. You are notified handicraft goods. You don't take registration but based on your aggregate turnover. Logic of 22. Based on your aggregate turnover, which is 40 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 10 lakhs. You are covered in 23, but logic is that of 22. Logic is that of 22. So from 24, you come to 23, but 23 reminds you of the logic of 22. You are not covered in 22. You are in 23, applying the logic of 22. So I have written which section? 23. 23. Clear? So normally for goods it is compulsory registration, but if it is notified handicraft goods, it is turnover based registration. That is the summary. That is actually the summary. For goods, interstate outward supply normally compulsory, but notified handicraft goods turnover based. Turnover based. That is the summary. Now for services, normally it is turnover based registration, which is 20 lakhs and lakhs, because for service you don't have 40, 20 lakhs and lakhs. But in special cases where you are talking about job working in jewelry sector, job working in jewelry sector, job working in jewelry sector, then you should go for compulsory registration as per section 24. So if you are talking about job work in jewelry sector, see, please be reminded that you are talking about interstate outward supply. So if you are having job working in jewelry sector but you are having only intrastate outward supply, you can enjoy 20 lakhs and lakhs. Please be reminded that we are discussing about interstate outwards. Don't forget that fact. It doesn't mean that if I am a job worker in jewelry sector, it is every time compulsory. No. If I am a job worker in jewelry sector, if my supply is only within that state, I can enjoy the limit of 20 lakhs and lakhs. But if my supply is from one state to another state, which means my customers are there in other state, then it is compulsory registration. For service, it is exactly ulta. Normally, service, you will have turnover based registration, even though you are having interstate outward supply. But if you are talking about job working jewelry sector, you will have compulsory registration in case of interstate outward supply. Are you clear with this understanding? Please be reminded that our focus or our discussion was all about interstate outward supply. We are not talking about intrastate. If it is intrastate, be it any category, you can enjoy the limit of 40 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 10 lakhs, isn't it? We are talking about interstate outward supply. So the moment I tell interstate outward supply of goods, what should be answer? Interstate outward supply of goods, turnover is only 1 lakh. Interstate outward supply of goods, turnover is only 1 lakh. Compulsory registration. Interstate outward supply of goods, turnover is 50 lakhs of notified handicraft goods. You have to take registration because it has cost 40 lakhs. Right? Turnover of notified handicraft goods in Tamil Nadu, only dealing with notified handicraft goods, 35 lakhs. Turnover of notified handicraft goods in Tamil Nadu, which means Tamil Nadu or Tamil Nadu to other state. We are talking about interstate. So Tamil Nadu to other state, but supplier is in Tamil Nadu, 35 lakhs. Tamil Nadu means your limit is now 40 lakhs. No need to take registration, even though you are having interstate outward supply. But wait, compulsory e-way. Compulsory, no registration but compulsory. So when you are getting relaxation from registration, you have to generate e-way. If you are registered, then e-way bill is not compulsory, it is based on the value. If you are not registered, then e-way bill is compulsory. Service sector, interstate outward supply. A chartered accountant is having clients outside the state. His total turnover of clients in state and outside state is 15 lakhs. Supposing he is in Tamil Nadu. No registration because now limit is 20 lakhs. Tamil Nadu services means 20 lakhs. And his turnover to clients in Tamil Nadu plus to clients outside Tamil Nadu is totally 15 lakhs. No need of registration. But if I tell that you are a job worker in jewelry sector, your turnover within Tamil Nadu to Tamil Nadu clients is 10 lakhs and Tamil Nadu to outside clients is 5 lakhs. The moment you only have one transaction, Tamil Nadu to outside Tamil Nadu, you have even one single transaction of interstate outward supply. Compulsory registration. Are we clear with this understanding? So that is when you are talking about interstate outward supply. Section 24 read along with section 23, and in section 23 we have seen 3 notifications: 7 bar 2017, 10 bar 2017, 3 bar 2018. 3 bar 2018. Are you clear with this understanding? We have seen 3 categories. We have seen 3 categories. And when I was talking about job worker of jewelry sector, the exact wordings was job worker when you are talking about jewelry, goldsmith, silversmith, wares or any other articles of chapter 71. You can remember that as job working in jewelry sector. Job working in jewelry sector. Are you clear with this understanding? Are you guys clear with what happens when you have interstate output supply? Till now, the understanding was the moment you have interstate output supply, compulsory. Now your entire understanding goes for a total change. It is not like that. First you have to ask whether it is goods or whether it is service. Then you have to analyze whether it is a general category or it is a special category. Right. Now the next part you are talking about your casual taxable person and non-resident taxable person. The moment you are taking temporary registration, it is mandatory, compulsory. Forget about it and all. The moment you go for CTP or NRTP registration, which is a temporary registration, then it is compulsory. Then it is compulsory registration. But for that, you have a relaxation is in 56 bar 2018 CT. 56 bar 2018 CT, which is only for CTP, which means still there is a possibility that there will be some relaxation. Still there is a possibility that there will be some relaxation. But this relaxation, by the way, is only and only for CTP, not for NRTP. Now, what are they trying to tell? The first point that they want to clearly tell that the moment you are going for CTP registration or NRTP registration, both of which are temporary registration, they are pretty clear that you have to go for compulsory registration. So when you talk about CTP, you have general category, and then you have a special case as well. But NRTP, for all cases, answer is the same. Compulsory. So if I were to tell the answer for NRTP, it is a one-liner answer. It is compulsory registration under section 24, irrespective of the type of goods you are dealing with. A person who is coming from outside India for participating in a business exhibition in, say, Gujarat state, he has to take compulsory registration. He is not having any relaxation whatsoever. But if you are CTP, then if at all I tell that you are dealing with notified handicraft goods, then they tell that I am talking about special case. This is all about special case. Notified handicraft goods, special case. Notified handicraft goods, then they tell that you can go for turnover based registration, but this is as per section 23. Logic is of 22, but as per section 23, which means that you can go for 40 lakhs, 20 lakhs or 10 lakhs as the case, depending on which state you are, 40, 20 or 10 as the case may be. Again, the same 2 criteria or the same 2 conditions. 1, PAN plus compulsory even. PAN, you should have a valid PAN card, plus you are getting relaxation from registration, therefore we want you to track you, therefore compulsory even. But when I am talking about general category of CTP, it is just like NRTP. Go for compulsory registration under section 24. So whether it is CTP general category or NRTP, all cases, prima facie answer is compulsory registration. They are insisting for compulsory registration. The relaxation is only and only when you are talking about CTP, where you are dealing with notified handicraft goods, where they tell that you can go for turnover based registration 40, 20 or 10 lakhs. But the moment you talk about notified handicraft goods, two extra conditions always comes up. You should be a valid PAN card holder, plus you are getting relaxation from registration, therefore we want to track you. Generate e-way bill compulsorily irrespective of the value. Generate e-way bill compulsorily irrespective of the value. Are we guys clear with this understanding? Right. Now this one point will come in. Why they have given this relaxation for notified handicraft goods and why it is repeated twice. It has come in your CTP category, plus it has also come in your interstate supply of goods. Why so? Correct, it has come in both the places. What is the significance of it being repeated twice? No, it is to promote that sector. The reasoning is very clear, it is to promote the handicraft goods sector, but why it is given in two places? Now understand that, supposing I tell that you are in Tamil Nadu, and in Gujarat there is an exhibition of handicraft goods. In Gujarat there is an exhibition for handicraft goods. So from Tamil Nadu to Gujarat, you are taking your notified handicraft goods. In Tamil Nadu, you are a regular taxable person because you have a shop, place of business in Tamil Nadu. In Gujarat, you are a casual taxable person because you are going there only for participating in exhibition. The moment that is over, you will come back. You don't have any place of business there. Clear? Now, you have to understand that, there is a problem in both the places. What is the problem? When you are taking those goods from Tamil Nadu to Gujarat, there is interstate outward supply. Deemed supply, but it is interstate outward supply. In Gujarat, you are CTP. So by default, you are covered by, you have to take compulsory registration in Tamil Nadu because you are taking the goods from Tamil Nadu to Gujarat, distinct person. Deemed supply. Schedule 1, para 2. In Gujarat also you have to take compulsory registration. In Gujarat also you are required to take your compulsory registration because you are acting as CTP. Now they want to give this relaxation. Both from interstate outward supply of goods in Tamil Nadu, also casual taxable person registration in Gujarat. Therefore, this point is repeated in two places. One, to give you relaxation in Tamil Nadu from interstate outward supply. Two, to give you relaxation in Gujarat from CTP category. So this needs to be repeated in two places. You are going to go with what? Turnover based registration as per section 23. But when I have written this turnover based registration, I am very, very careful. I have not written two times. I have written only one time. Why? It is aggregate turnover. You have to see aggregate turnover. I have to see Pan India aggregator. I am not going to see 40 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 10 lakhs separately for Tamil Nadu, 40 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 10 lakhs separately for Gujarat. Pan India, both in Tamil Nadu and Gujarat, my total turnover should be up to 40 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 10 lakhs. Back to the basics of section 22. Those were the basics of your section 22. Though it is section 23 turnover based, but the logic is that of section 22. Are you guys clear with this understanding? If I were telling that it was not notified handicraft goods, they were other goods, then your answer would have been compulsory registration both in Tamil Nadu as well as in Gujarat. Are you guys clear with the logic why this relaxation is given twice? Why this relaxation is given twice? One, that relaxation is from your interstate outward supply. One, that relaxation is from your CTP. When you talk about your notified handicraft goods. Notified handicraft goods. Now, as we have seen the term CTP and NRTP. CTP and NRTP. Let us try to understand what is exactly meant by CTP and NRTP. Till now, what we were trying to understand? Till now, I was telling that you are going to a place where you are going to go temporarily. Where you are going to go temporarily. That is the actual meaning. Now, let us see the real meaning. Let us see the real meaning. CTP means a person who occasionally undertakes the transaction of goods, supply of goods or services or both. Occasionally means temporarily. Occasionally means temporarily, but you have to use the term occasionally. Undertakes the transaction of supply of goods or services or both in course or furtherance of business, whether acting as principal, agent or any other capacity. He may act himself as principal or he may act as agent or any other capacity, that is not important. Where is undertaking that occasionally transaction supply of goods or services? In a state or union territory where he is not having? Now recall all the examples that I have taken till now. You are in Tamil Nadu, you are going to Gujarat where you don't have any branch. In Tamil Nadu, you are a regular taxable person. Why? Because you are having place of business. In Gujarat, you are casual taxable person. Why? There you do not have any fixed place of business. Even now, when I took that example, I said in Tamil Nadu, you are not sitting. In Tamil Nadu, you are a regular taxable person because you are having a place of business. Only in Gujarat, you are CTP because you don't have any place of business. You go to that business exhibition or trade fair, participate and come back. You don't have any place of business. Clear? Now, the moment you understand CTP as per section 2 clause 20, the same is the meaning of NRTP in terms of section 2 clause 37. NRTP means a person who occasionally undertakes a transaction involving supply of goods or supply of services or both. But here, whether business is there or not, that is not so important. It may be in course of furtherance of business, it may not be in course of furtherance of business. So they don't focus on this particular part. It may be in course of furtherance of business, it may not be in course of furtherance of. For CTP, they tell that you are going in Gujarat for doing some business. For NRTP, you are telling that you are going to Gujarat, you may go there for doing business or you may go there not for doing business. It may be in course of furtherance of business, it may not be in course of furtherance of doing business for NRTP. When you talk about an NRTP, understand that the example that I was always telling that Trump is coming from USA to Gujarat for participating in business exhibition or trade fair in Gujarat. Whether Trump is having any place of business in Gujarat, forget about Gujarat. He is not having any place of business throughout India. Correct? So look at the language now. That person does not have any fixed place of business or even residence throughout India. Now it is not about that state. Now it is not about that state. Differentiate here. Here you are telling that when you are going from Tamil Nadu to Gujarat, you don't have fixed place of business in Gujarat. CTP. Here, when you are coming from USA to India, you are not having fixed place of business or residence, not only in Gujarat, throughout India. Throughout India. Don't worry, we will be taking CTP, NRTP. Based on the definition, there will be 6 examples which are given. Only based on the definition. I would like you to solve those answers. But I am not taking those now. We will discuss again when we are taking CTP and RTP. I will be reciting the definition again. I will be helping you out in reciting the definition again. If you were to revise the definition in 3-4 words, occasionally, business, no fixed place of business in that state, CTP. NRTP. Occasionally. Maybe in course of others of business, may not be. No fixed place of business or residence. Not only in that state, throughout India. Throughout India. Normal feeling. Rather, I'll give the answer now itself so that don't make a mistake. Normal feeling. If I tell Trump is coming or a foreign company is coming, normal feeling is NRTP. Your heart will always tell that it is NRTP, not reality. If there is a foreign company which is having a place of business in Tamil Nadu, now it is participating in Gujarat for a business exhibition. It is CTP. It is CTP. In Tamil Nadu it is regular taxable person, in Gujarat it is CTP, though it is a foreign company. Though it is a foreign company. So that feeling that we are talking only about non-resident means it is always NRTP is not true. It's not true. Don't go with the wordings. The moment I tell foreign company, if I talk about generally, if I am not taking this definition with so much clarity, the moment I tell it is a foreign company coming in India and participating in business exhibition, the normal feeling would be NRTP. True, but not always. But not always. Clear? Clear? Now, in both the places, you will find some term called as fixed place of business. What do you mean by place of business? Whether place of business includes only head office? No. I have one head office, 10 branches, 20 godowns, 5 places where I have kept my books of accounts, 2 agents who are keeping my stock. Repeat. 1 head office, 10 branches, 20 godowns or warehouses, 5 places where I have kept my books of accounts in different locations, 2 agents who are keeping my stock, and they are normal agents, not special agents, who are keeping my stock. Place of business will include business, a place from where business is ordinarily carried on. You are talking about head office, branch office. That one head office, 10 branch office are covered. Includes a warehouse, a godown or any other place. Includes a warehouse or godown or any other place where he is storing his goods. It includes your 20 godowns or warehouse. 20 godowns or warehouse. It also includes a place where you keep your books of accounts. It will also include a place where you are engaging in business through a agent. Please note here, we are not talking about special agent here, we are talking about normal agent who is keeping your stock there. I have a normal agent, but he is keeping my stock in his place. My stock in his place. If he is not keeping my stock, it is not my place of business. My stock in his place. Engaged in business through an agent. Which agent are we talking about? Not special. Normal agent. He is not agent as for schedule 1. He is a normal agent as for schedule 1 will be a separate person. He will have his own registration. Now this normal agent will also have his own registration, but for his commission. Will I always add my agent as additional place of business? No. Only if my normal agent is keeping my stock in his place, then I have to add that place as my additional place of business. So it is my head office, my branch, my godown, warehouse, place where I keep my books of accounts. Normal agent, if at all my stock is kept there. Now please tell me which is my principal place of business. Which is my principal place? These are all my place of business, correct? These are all my place of business. Out of all these places, 1 head office, 10 branches, 20 godowns, warehouses, 5 places where I have kept my books of accounts, 2 agents who are keeping my stock. Which is my principal place of business? Which is my principal place of business? Your emotion will tell you head office. Your emotion might tell you books of accounts. Don't tell me any other case. Your emotion generally will tell you corporate office, head office. It's not so. Any place that I specify as principal place of business in my registration certificate is my principal place of business. MCQ, MCQ, MCQ. If I are giving MCQ with the exact same thing that I have given, head office, 10 branches, 20 godowns, warehouse, 5 places I have kept my books of accounts, 2 agent place where my stock is there, and I am giving which is my principal place of business, option A, B, C, D, option A, head office, option D, any place can be my principal place of business. Most of you will go and select option A. No. I can select godown number 15 as my principal place of business. I can select branch office number 9 as my principal place of business. I can select my agent number 2 where my stock is kept as my principal place of business. I can select the 4th place where my books of accounts are kept as my principal place of business. I can select anything. The moment I select one of the places as my principal place of business, all the other places becomes my additional place of business. This is a very, very, very important note. Again, ICA Institute has not tested it, but doesn't mean that it cannot be tested. Any place can be selected as my any place. I have the right. Planning can be done. Planning can be done. If I don't find a particular officer not cooperating with my client, if my client and a particular jurisdictional officer said something to each other which cannot be again taken back, the words one said cannot be taken back, the damage is such that it is not revocable, you cannot take it back. What to do? Go for amendment. Go for amendment. Change your principal place of business. Your jurisdiction will change. Your jurisdiction will change. Small points, but huge impact. Very small point, but a major impact. A major impact. Right? Few clients of us working both in Coimbatore and Tirupur, but they have selected their principal place of business in Tirupur. They are mainly in Coimbatore, but selected there because they know that with that officer or with that jurisdiction officer everything is going smoothly. Tomorrow if something wrong happens, what they'll do? Change their principal place of business and bring it here. This is your tax planning. This is actually what you are doing is nothing but tax planning. Are you clear with this understanding? I spent so much time here because you have to understand that principal place of business don't go with the name. It doesn't mean your head office. It doesn't mean your corporate office. You can select any place of business as your principal place of business. Now, if you see the other parts, all the other points. First we'll see the areas which are one-liners. Then we'll see the area which requires certain analysis. Now, if you see point number 5, 6, 7, it is all about electronic commerce operator. It is all and all about electronic commerce operator. Electronic commerce operator. Right. We'll discuss about it, but we'll see the other points first. What are the other points given here? We're talking about the 8th point where it is said that person who are making taxable supply of goods or services on behalf of another taxable person, whether agent or otherwise. Please write in bracket here you're talking about special agents. Here you're talking about special agent. Special agent means agent as per your schedule 1. If principal is a taxable person, special agent, even if he is not having much turnover, he has to take compulsory registration. He has to take compulsory registration. Compulsory registration. Are we talking about normal agents? No. We are talking about agent as per your schedule 1. Agent as per your schedule 1. Now, as the term agent has come here, we will complete all the definitions. Now, if you see all the definitions over, meaning of agent and meaning of principal. Normal meaning, whatever you understand is given. Very normal meaning of agent and very, very normal meaning of principal. An agent means what? Agent in terms of section 2 clause 5 means a person including a factor, broker, commission agent, arathya, delcred. You may name him anything. He may be a normal factor or a broker or a commission agent or arathya or delcred agent or auctioneer. You may call anything by whatever name you call. What he is doing? He is carrying on the business of supply of goods or services on behalf of who's that? Another person, principal. On behalf of another person, principal. Now, who's the principal? Principal means on whose behalf? On whose behalf? Agent is carrying on the business of supply of goods or supply of services or both. Very normal meaning. Agent is a person who is carrying on the business on behalf of another person. Principal means a person on whose behalf agent carries on the business. Agent carries on the business. But when you are talking about compulsory registration, we are talking about whom? Normal agent or agent as per schedule 1? Agent as per schedule 1. Now if you look at all these terms, all the terms, we are done with all the terms. Now coming back here, special agent or agent as per schedule 1, you have to take compulsory. So I will split both. Agent who is not as per schedule 1, turnover based registration. I am not writing that chart because one liner point. Agent who is not as per schedule 1, turnover based. Agent who is as per schedule 1, compulsory if his principal is a taxable person, which he will be mostly. Right. Next, ISD registration. The moment you are working in 2 or more states or you are having 2 or more GST number, you have to take something called as ISD registration for common input services, compulsory. Government, if they are required to deduct TDS, compulsory TDS registration. I have clearly said that government may not take normal GST number because their service may be exempted, their goods or service may be exempted, or it may be under RCM. But if they are covered by the provision of TDS, they are covered by the provision of TDS. They have to deduct TDS. So for them, they have to take GST TDS registration. OIDRS, who is outside India, and they are giving services to, you may call them as non-taxable online recipient or unregistered person. These wordings have been used differently in different places. One place is non-taxable online recipient. Other places it is used as unregistered person. Other places it is individual or government or local authority or governmental authority, not for business or profession or industry or commerce. Everything means one and the same. You can read it this way. You should be an individual or government or local authority or a governmental authority for getting the services not for business or profession or industry or commerce. Right? They are nothing but non-taxable online recipient and they are generally not registered. They are generally not registered. So you are asking a person who is outside India to take registration because he has to pay tax under SCM. Are you going to see his turnover? No. Compulsory registration. Compulsory registration. Last point, nothing is notified. So if you see point 8, 9, 10, 11, they are all one-liners. They are all one-liners. Agent as per schedule 1, compulsory if the principal is taxable person. TDS registration by government it is compulsory. ISD compulsory. Or you are talking about supplier of OIDRS from outside India to non-taxable online recipient who is nothing but individual, government, local authority or governmental authority who are getting the services from that person outside India in India, not in relation to business, profession, commerce or industry. Are you clear this understanding? Now if you see this, you will find one thing missing. ISD is there, TDS is there, but what is not there? TCS. Don't worry, TCS is covered here. In these 3 points you have TCS covered. So when you see these 3 points, you have to see it along with your notification 65/2022 2017 CT. Right. So when you're talking about, it's not 2018, 2017. Notification 65/2017. What are they talking about? They are talking about electronic commerce operator. Electronic commerce operator and the related transactions. The related transactions. Now when you talk about this electronic commerce operator and the related transactions, categorize them into two. Electronic commerce operator where they have to pay GST under section 9.5. Electronic commerce operator where section 9.5 is not applicable. What is section 9.5? Where neither the supplier pays tax nor the recipient pays tax. Third person whose electronic commerce operator pays tax. Third person whose electronic commerce operator pays tax. If at all you are booking a cab through Ola, right? Supplier is the cab owner. You are the recipient. But who has to pay tax on the full hire charges? Ola. Ola generally gets commission. But Ola now is not required to pay GST on the commission, but it is required to pay GST on the full value. Supposing your hire charges comes to 1000 rupees. Ola is getting a commission of 100 rupees. Normally Ola will pay GST only on 100, but now Ola is asked to pay GST on entire. The supplier will not pay, recipient will not pay, third party, electronic commerce operator will pay. Will pay under section 9.5. Now, in both the cases, you are talking about electronic commerce operator and supplier of notified services. Supplier of notified services. In section 9.5, you have only notified services. Notified. You don't have goods. You don't have goods. You have only notified services. To be very specific, there are 4 notified services. Passenger transportation services. Passenger transportation services. Then you have housekeeping services like carpenter, accommodation. You are booking via Urban Club. Then you have your accommodation services. Booking a room via Trivago. Passenger transportation services, booking a cab via Ola. Housekeeping services, booking a carpenter via Urban Club. Accommodation services, booking a hotel via Trivago. Via electronic commerce operator. Then you have your food services, restaurant services. Booking your food order via Swiggy or Zomato. Right. Now understand that when you talk about this electronic commerce operator, it has to take compulsory registration. It has to take compulsory registration as per your section 24. Supplier of notified services, I am not writing anything about registration because there are few cases where irrespective of your turnover, you will not take registration. Say for example, passenger transportation services, Ola. Whether the cab owner is getting 5 lakhs, 15 lakhs or 50 lakhs, no need of registration, everything will be paid by Ola. But when you are talking about housekeeping and accommodation services, till your turnover is crossing 20 lakhs or 10 lakhs, Trivago will help you out in accommodation services in our example, or Urban Club will help you out in case of housekeeping services. The moment your turnover crosses 20 lakhs and lakhs, it is under forward charge mechanism. They will not pay GST, you have to pay GST. It is not under section 9.5. It is not under section 9.5. When you talk about restaurant providing through Swiggy, Zomato, not every transaction of restaurant will be through Swiggy, Zomato. What is supplied to Swiggy, Zomato? Swiggy or Zomato will pay GST. But what is sold in their own restaurant, directly, they will pay. I am not even commenting on registration. It depends. So what I have done, I just put a dash mark. It depends. But what if your electronic commerce operator is not covered under 9.5? See, 9.5 is only and only for Only and only for notified services. Other than 9.5, you are talking about all the goods and other than notified services. All the goods and other than notified services will come here. In that case, you have to ask two questions. Whether TCS is there or TCS is not there. TCS is not applicable in all the cases. Whether TCS is applicable or TCS is not applicable. If TCS is applicable, different answer. If TCS is not applicable, different answer. If TCS is applicable, electronic commerce operator, one answer. Or second, you are talking about supplier of goods through eco. Supplier of goods through eco. Supplier of services through eco. We have to talk about all the three. Supplier of goods through eco, supplier of services through eco. Electronic commerce operator has to take compulsory registration, section 24. Supplier of goods through eco has to take compulsory registration, section 24. But supplier of services, they have a relaxation. Turnover based registration, section 23. Section 23. For service sector, they always have this soft corner. 20 lakhs, 10 lakhs. So if I am supplying goods via Amazon, where TCS is applicable, Amazon will take compulsory registration, both normal plus TCS. Supplier of goods have to take compulsory registration. But if I am supplying services, if I am supplying chartered accountancy services through a website where TCS is applicable, that website or electronic commerce operator will take compulsory registration. But I will take turnover based registration. If I tell that TCS is not applicable, then answer is very, very simple. Whether it is electronic commerce operator or supplier of goods or supplier of services, all the cases, it is turnover based registration. Now it is not as per section 23, it is as per section 22. It is as per section 22. If you again categorize it clearly, if at all there is an electronic commerce operator where section 9.5 is applicable, which means supplier will not pay GST, recipient will not pay GST, eco will pay GST. In that scenario, eco has to take compulsory registration because it is going to pay GST. That supplier of notified services, answer will depend on which type of service it is. But if I tell that there is an electronic commerce operator you are supplying through it where 9.5 is not applicable, then you have to ask one more question, whether TCS is applicable or TCS is not applicable. In a scenario where you tell that TCS is not applicable, then the answer is very simple. Whether you are electronic commerce operator, that website or app, or your supplier of goods or your supplier of services through that electronic commerce operator, every one of you have to take turnover registration. But if I tell TCS is applicable, then electronic commerce operator, compulsory registration, supplier of goods, compulsory registration, supplier of services, there is a actually here also it should have been compulsory, but there is a relaxation. For supplier services there is a relaxation, turnover based registration as per 23. It is actually covered by 24, but there is a relaxation, turnover based registration, section 20. Section 20. So that is everything about your section 22, section 23 and your section 24. 22 and 24 will tell you when to take registration. 23 will tell you when you are not required to take registration. There are cases in 23 where irrespective of your turnover you will not take registration. There are only 3 cases. Non-tax supply fully, exempt supply fully, supply where RCM is applicable in all cases. Irrespective of your turnover, don't take registration. Now the other cases of section 23, where they are helping you from not taking registration is based on what? Is based on turnover. Is based on, they'll help you from section 24, but they'll tell that look at your turnover, then decide whether to take registration or not to take registration. So that is everything about your conceptual part of 22 turnover based registration, 24 compulsory registration, 23 no need of registration.